Today I'm going to show you how to make a chainsaw birdhouse. But this is no birdhouse like you've ever seen before. So to start with our birdhouse, we're going to have to find a suitable tree. This tree right here is a beautiful, probably about 150-year-old Douglas fir. It is not doing very well. It's kind of got some disease in it, some sickness. And so this is a tree that I'm going to turn into a habitat snag. So I don't necessarily do this on a live, healthy tree. Just by opening it up, as we're going to do, it will have a tendency to allow bugs to get in, and it could damage and leave a pretty grim future for the tree. But this one here, knowing it's going to be a habitat snag, is a perfect candidate. So the very first thing we want to do is to pick a suitable location in our tree for our birdhouse. We want to find a place where the bark is pretty uniform, kind of flat. It's going to make it a little bit easier for a hinge and for our door. And you can use a scribe or a Sharpie just to give yourself a reference here. But I'm just going to take my Sharpie here and kind of draw this out. When I get my chainsaw going, that'll help me. Now the first thing we're going to want to do is get our hinge, our screws, and a small fine woodworking chisel. Now this next bit, it's kind of important you do this in the order that I'm showing you here. It'll really make your life a lot easier. Now what we're essentially going to do is just to build a little door here. We're going to try to keep that bark. And by leaving it in here, we've got a nice secure surface that we can work on. We're going to try to hold it, keep it steady. But what I'll do is just take your time here, and what we're going to do is try to carve somewhere in the middle, a little flat spot. Just don't get any hurry here. And what we want to do is, because this bark is so uneven and the hinge surface is so flat, we want to make sure that it fits in here nicely. Centered on there. I've used 2 hinges before. One hinge is a little bit simpler if you have a wide one like this. So just take your chisel there and mark these. We don't want to overcut this. We want it to look as natural as possible. To look like somebody did it who really cared. Now, depending on how good of a job you did with your chainsaw, you might need to go back and revisit this. You can see here, I'm too deep here, not deep enough right there. I actually didn't do a very good job there. So we'll fire up the chainsaw one more time and very carefully start to clean this out. I'll put some scar marks in here, maybe even some cross hatches to help chisel this piece out. So this right here is what I did not want to see. I don't know, seems like it's always the case when you start second guessing yourself and you go back in there, mess around, then you get these cut. That doesn't look very nice. That shouldn't have happened, but a saw got away from me a little bit, and lesson learned. So let's chunk the rest of this out with our big chisel. I mentioned I was going to put some cross hatches in there. I just kind of forgot about it. You can do that, but I think if don't get greedy and just work here kind of slowly here, we should be able to pop this out of here. So we want to create a little stop so this doesn't push in and stress the hinges. So I'll just use a little piece of scrap that I chunked out here, and we'll screw that up to the top. So I'll measure this with my chisel, just kind of roughly, doesn't be perfect, and mark this and cut it to length.